you're going to, for chipping, you're going to go back. If you want to carry the ball in the air with a sand wedge or a pitching wedge about 10 to 15 yards, 15 yards in the air, the club should only get to about parallel. So the other fundamentals for chipping, I'll get into right now. Here's another example from how close his feet are together. Notice how the right hand of the club on the golf club is straight on, more on top. The V formed between the thumb and forefinger is more on top of the club. And if you're going to hit it 20 yards, 15 yards in the air, that's about all you need for a backswing. So, setting up here on the left-hand screen, pretty good setup. You took a backswing. See how the club got in behind your hands. A little bit in behind your hands, and you know this would be a typical swing for like 40 yards or 50 yards. So the club head, so the club head, when it's parallel to the ground, it shouldn't get behind you there, behind your hands.
Okay, I see.
So,
I see. So I was going like that.
Yeah, a little bit, not much. So here's another chipping stance. You can see how close together his feet are. You know, and he'll hit this about 15 yards, and then he'll come through. The lead arm stays very extended. The wrist is flat. You see how there's a straight line between the lead arm and the shaft. Right here in contact, notice the club face doesn't rotate. See how it stays square to the face is pointed right at the target. Yep. So those are some things we're going to work on outside. And just as a point of reference, that's a chipping setup. A pitch shot or chip shot, you can see, is not much different. But I'll just give you some things to work with, some frames of reference. So 20 yards is about right there. Hands top of the thigh. 35 yards is about hands just above the right thigh. And then 50 yards, the hands are going to be even with the center of the chest. 65 is going to be pretty much right shoulder, right where I drew the, and then a full backswing would be 80 yards or so above the right shoulder. So that's sort of how that works. And there's equal distance back and through. So we're going to do that outside. Sand wedge is when you want to carry it farther and you're further away from the hole. The closer you get to the green, the less loft you use. The more green so if you have 20 yards of green and you're only 5 yards off the green, you want to use a club that's going to go about, say, 6 yards in the air and release and run about 12 to 13 yards. So it's a 1 to 3 ratio. 6 yards in the air, 18 yards or 12 yards of run, you get 18 yards. 1/3, 2/3. That's about an 8 iron. Pitching wedge is about 40% and then 60%. So you carry it about 40%. If you have 20 yards, you carry it about, say, close to about 8 yards, and then let it carry 8, and then it runs about 12. But we'll go over that outside. So there's two types of shots I want you to learn, and I'm recording this. The chip putt, basically you take a putting grip, you hold the club down at the bottom You've got the thumbs down the shaft, and I've got a putting grip, and this is just a dead hands, just a shoulder stroke. You're not really using, a whole lot of wrists so you're basically only making a small distance, the ball to carry a small distance. It's an 8-iron that's going to carry maybe 4 or 5 yards in the air and run. And that's when you have a lot of green to work with. Now, when you have very little green to work with, say the pin's right on the edge of the green, and you're on the short side. You're on the short side of the pin, the side closest to the pin. And you have to hit it high, then you would use obviously a more lofted club, different kind of swing. A sand shot, you're trying to hit 2 or 3 inches behind the ball. You want a wide stance and a lot of knee flex, and you want to open the club face and then grip the club. Open it first because you want to hit a sand shot with the bottom of the club hitting the sand first, sliding, skimming the ground. You never want the face to close. Alright, so we'll go out there and hit some shots and show you how to hit those. But this is a pretty good action, really. You see how you hit it on the toe here? That's because you're not close enough to the ball. And the shaft's not upright enough. You want to stand closer to it. The farther you stand, the more the club tends to want to work around your body, too. And, with these guys, the chipping stroke, they're standing very close to the ball. He's standing really close to it there. So